In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys why everything is just beginning and going to be using many different charts to explain why I think so. And the first chart is going to be the Russell 2000 index, not the IWM, but the actual index. So I'm going to be pulling it up from the very beginning of time, basically back here in October of 87, right? The original Black Monday, basically back then in the 80s. And what we see is price has been following the symmetry very perfectly. And first off, this angle in the very beginning was super important as support. And then it lost that, and then it went to the next angle, then it lost that, and then it went down to the 2009 financial crisis crash. But all that did, it met resistance in 2007, and then it found support in 2009 just based off of symmetry. So this is a perfect example how market symmetry works, right? It predicted the top of the market in 2007 in June, right? And then it predicted the bottom that would be down here in 2009 as well. So the top and the bottom were pretty obvious when you looked at this. If you were looking at this and didn't take profits, then that is not anybody's fault, right? Except for your own. But basically, that blue line was resistance, and then it went above to the arc was even more resistance. So it was obvious that it wasn't ready to break above because it could never flip that arc to a support. So that's why things just collapsed, right? And then after that, it recovered this angle again and rode that angle up more and more and more and more and more. And then the COVID crash happened, but it was just a V-shaped bottom. And then price went up to the green level. And it was very similar to what happened here, how it went up above the blue level, then went back down to retest lows, just like here. Went up above the green level to retest lows, and then found support right there on the arc. And then what do we see happening right now? Well, it's kind of similar to what we see back in May or June of 2012. Right around this time, maybe even a little bit earlier in 2012, that it's finally flipping that blue level to a support, just like right now is finally reflipping that green level back to a support. Basically, exactly the same situation, how you had that rounding top and another dip below just to reclaim it to go higher, just like here, a rounding top to dip below just to reclaim it, and now it's going higher along the same exact angle, right? The same angle. It's not a different angle, it's the same one, and that is just maybe 11 years, 12 years later, it's doing the exact same thing. So what this really means is things are just beginning, right? It's now back on top of that green level. It's now challenging that angle again, just like it did in the past. And it now really wants to go higher and higher to the next level. And where does that next level sit? Well, it sits up there at 54.30 exactly, around that area. So will price just keep going up this angle all the way until it gets to that? I mean, that would be to the 2030s if that happened. But there could be more of an explosive growth as well, where prices shoots up quicker and then gets up there before 2030 as well. But that is looking like the next target, at least 54.31, because of this market symmetry, because it's kind of mirroring the past right here. And because this angle is once again a very important point of interest, and it was a resistance right here from July of 2022 all the way until basically July of 2024, where it broke above and now it's been battling it as kind of like a support. It's been wicking below many times, but the month is still not over. There's still 14 days left in the month. So I think it still has a very good opportunity to close above this angle to continue higher and higher and eventually break through all of this resistance above to continue to the arcs above, which are in the 3850s and then the 4398s, and then possibly even the 5400s up here, right? So slowly but surely, this is looking more and more bullish, and slowly but surely, this is looking like the beginning of something really, really massive is about to start once it breaks into the all-time highs. And next, I'm going to be showing you the SPX on the monthly chart from the 1929, the 1930 financial crash. And we can see that every level was important on the way up, right? We can see that clearly. Orange level was really perfect back in 1953 as a resistance. And again, these are monthly charts, right? So these take a while to play out. But I can just zoom in here and you can see that it went there, but it was the top. And then it came down many months to consolidate and then finally broke through to the arc. And then that was kind of a big support and resistance zone as well. And then it finally drifted higher and higher until it got to that blue angle above where that was in 1972 where things were starting to slow down, and that was also a major resistance zone too. And then you had the 70s kind of collapse down there where it lost that angle, right? You can see this angle was a perfect support zone for a very long time, and then once it lost it, it just kind of fell apart until it was like a V bottom and then recovered that arc again, and that was basically then a support, and then it broke above the blue level, and the blue level was important as well. See, it broke out above, then it back tested it, and now it went higher, and it actually reclaimed that angle again, which was a resistance for a long time. Now it was a support again, right? Even there with the 1987 crash, it did crash exactly right back to support. Did take a few months to go below it, but then it reclaimed it again. And then price maintained that angle all the way up, all the way up, all the way up until this green level here. And that green level was also very important. And now you can see that price did, in fact, break out and then back tested back in 2002. This was the dot-com crash, and all the dot-com crash did was go back and retest a level. That's it. And then price went higher and higher and higher, and then it went back and retested it again in the financial crisis, right? Just a simple back test again and a little bit of a V bottom down below it, which was normal. And then it was resistance for a while, and then it kind of reclaimed it once again, that same angle that you've been seeing the whole time. And then price slowly but surely went up that angle until the next level. And that leads us to today, right? That leads us to today. And what do we see today? Well, we see that it is breaking out above that angle, right? It's breaking out above it, and that angle now, or sorry, that level. It's breaking out above that level right there, and that is around 5,000, right? 4,900, and it broke out already. So that means it's just the beginning, right? If it's breaking out and maybe a back test, and it already kind of did back test it, so maybe it's not necessary to go back down there, but that kind of means that it's just beginning as well. Just like the Russell 2000, just like a lot of things, it's just beginning. And it looks like price wants to continue higher and higher and higher. And where does it ultimately leave the SPY or the SPX? I mean, well, that could lead to the arcs above into the 13,000s. And that could lead to the 16,000s, or it could lead to the very top around 28,000, right? So that could be the ultimate possibility. But look at this angle, how important it has been throughout history, right? We can just continue looking at it, and it's so, so very important. So if it were to follow that angle all the way up to the very end right here, then that would be like in 2052, right? Possibly. 28,800 in in the year 2052, right? That was pretty incredible for that angle. So don't underestimate it. And I think it has a possibility to maintain this angle indefinitely, right? And can go up to that 28,000 for the SPY in that amount of time, right? That is pretty far in the future, but that's kind of what it's suggesting simply because this angle is very, 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 very important since the 1929 crash. So gonna keep an eye on that angle, and as long as it maintains support, the trajectory does read 28,000, 29,000 by the year 2052. So it looks like things are just beginning. This still confirms that it just might be the beginning of the exponential age. And people do underestimate the kind of growth that I think is possible. So, based off of the IWM and the SPX alone, this looks like it's just the beginning and things want to go much higher. And now that leads me to Tesla. And Tesla right here, I have it set up since the very beginning too. These are monthly candles again, so it does take a while to play out. But I've already showed this many times, so I'm not going to really focus on the GAN so much on this. But I want to basically focus on the other indicators that are really showing that this is just the beginning as well. Because we already know that this orange level was really, really important throughout time. And now this blue level is also very important now. And it's below that, and that level sits around 290. So once price gets above that 290, we know that the possibility, the probability of getting to the next level becomes greater and greater. And that level does sit around $5,000. And that would be maybe by the year 2032 if it just followed this same trajectory as getting to one level at a time by the vertical lines, right? The vertical line was kind of a top for Tesla. So maybe this next vertical line could be around the top for Tesla around there as well, around 5,000 by 2032. So we already know this because I've talked about it so many times, but what I really want to focus on is the monthly Ichimoku. And this is really telling a picture that things are just beginning because we can see that the baseline and the conversion line are really, really close together, and price is maintaining inside the cloud very, very well, right? So, and prices above both the prices above both the conversion line and the baseline right there, right? So this is basically the first time that they've been this close, the first time that it's in the cloud, the first time that price is above it in a very long time. You can see price was above both here, but the conversion line down here and the baseline up here were really far apart. But now they're really close together, giving it kind of like a launch pad to go much, much, much higher. And you really haven't seen something like that since maybe around here, right? Where they were really close together, where price was above it, and then it was also above the cloud and just was kind of like a launch pad higher and higher. So that's a really big important thing that we need to focus on because it's more and more bullish every single month since the bottom back here in 2024 of April, even since the bottom here where it retested the arc down here as well. So this is a very important development for Tesla that it's just looking like it's ready to explode higher. It's like the beginning phases of something that is very, very magical. And in just a matter of months, I think it'll get to the top side of this blue level. And then once it's on the top side of that blue level again, for the second time, the first time was here, but that was the top. But now once it reflips it to a support, then it'll be ready to go and grow exponentially to those higher levels, to the 1300, to the 2000s, to the 5000 eventually. And that is probably just a matter of months away, maybe half a year or so. It'll get ready to get above those levels and then continue higher and higher. But again, this is more confirmation that just focusing on the Ichimoku alone, how bullish the monthly candles look, it just looks like it's ready and ready to go higher and higher and higher. And once it's on top of the cloud, once it's on top of the level, it'll just keep on going. And next, I want to just focus on gold. And I'm going to focus on gold right here from 1976, because that's when it really started to explode higher and higher. And again, let's focus on each level. So the blue level, super important, then back to the orange, then back to the blue, was resistance, flipped it, confirmed it as a support right there back in 2008, and then just went higher and higher to the green level. And again, that green level was a massive resistance from 2020 until recently, until 2023, 2024, where it finally flipped it to a support and now it's going higher. So this is also more confirmation that it's just in the beginning phases of the GAN where it really wants to go higher and higher. And we can see that the next level does sit around 3100, and then after that 35, and then actually the next green horizontal level does sit around 5370. So we don't need to use any other indicators because we already know it's 100% bullish because it's breaking out into all-time highs. But the thing to focus on is it's just like the Russell 2000, it's just like the SPX, the S&P 500, how it's flipping a previous resistance level to a support and wants to go higher and higher and higher. So again, not too much to focus on this, but just more confluence that everything is breaking levels at the same time and wants to continue higher to the next level. And for gold, that does sit around 5370 or so. And lastly, I'm going to talk about the total crypto market cap for crypto, and just going to use this log scale chart first to show you guys that price is also flipping another level from a resistance zone back to a support. And again, these are monthly candles, so we can see how each level was kind of important. And now this blue level And these angles are also very important as well. So what was a previous resistance was kind of this arc right up here, right? And around this blue level was kind of like a support, then it flipped to a resistance, so it's very important. But you can see the previous resistance right here. It never really closed a monthly candle above that arc, right? And it just wicked above and closed below, and that was the top of the crypto cycle in 2021. And then price went back down towards that blue angle where it was. It lost it as a support, flipped it to a resistance for a few months, then reclaimed it. And then with one bullish engulfing candle up 38%, then that month just shot back above the arc. And ever since then, in February of 2024, it stayed on top of the arc for monthly candle closes ever since. So what was previously a resistance because it never could close a candle above, now is support because it still has not closed a monthly candle below. And this is really important because despite all these wicks, they're still being bought up and it's still closing above that arc. So once again, it's proof that it's a previous resistance flipping to a support. And that means there's more confirmation that price wants to go higher and higher. And it's also proof that things are just in the beginning phases of something really massive. And the next level, because price is right around 2 trillion right now for the total crypto market cap. And right now, it's around 45 trillion for the next level. So I believe that could be the target. And whether it rides up this 45, or sorry, this is not the 45, this is the 45. But whether it rides up this angle completely, then maybe for that'll be 45 trillion by 2031, right? That's a possibility. Or we could see things explode much sooner and get up there a lot sooner, maybe 26, 27, 28, somewhere in between this angle up here February 2026, and somewhere between that angle right here, which is August of 2031. So that would be the time frame to get up to that 45 trillion mark. But it is pretty obvious that things are looking like once a resistance, now a support, right? So this is more confirmation that things are just beginning and maybe that everything rally is actually in the beginning phases right now. But before I finish up, I want to show you the linear scale version of this chart because as we know, linear scale has the perfect market symmetry because angles are equidistant from each other. And when you do log scale like this, they're not really equidistant from each other because everything is more based off a percentage. So let's go to the log or linear scale version right here. And I want to just show you what's really on my mind, right? We can see that this blue angle is the focus of my linear scale chart from the very beginning. And that was a resistance. I did mark it out here. And then it was a support back in 2021. Broke up to that 45-degree angle, which was ultimate top for the crypto market cap. Then back to that angle here. And then it was a resistance again back in January of 2024. And then things broke out of that, but it could not hold it as a support. So it went back down. Where did it go back down to? Exactly back down to this blue angle again. So throughout time, this blue angle since 2017 has been super important and it's not going below, right? It's not really closing candles below. Even this red candle right here did not close below. So what was previous resistance has flipped back to a support. So a successful backtest that equals support. That is kind of confirming that it could be a possible crypto bottom for something that is very exponential to go in the future. So the next steps could be that price would just maybe possibly backtest that angle, sure, and then flip that bottom blue arc to a support, then the orange level, and then go up higher and higher back into the 3 trillions, the 4 trillions, and beyond. So since this is linear scale things on the right side here, they aren't very exponential because it goes up in a straight line. So to see that kind of exponential growth, we would go flip to log scale once that would happen. But just for confirmation of true market symmetry here on linear scale, this is showing that things have the potential to be the crypto bottom and that things are just beginning for a very explosive move higher as well. So when you add up all these confluences with the Russell 2000, with the SPX, the S&P 500, gold, Tesla, everything, things are looking, even the crypto market, things are looking better and better, and things are looking like it's just the beginning for something massive. So I think the risk is being underinvested right now, not overinvested, because based off of everything I just showed you, things are looking like it's the bottom and things are just beginning to break out.